We are live. It is Chris and Brian here one more time talking about the tech news, Outlook, Microsoft Outlook, the perennial Outlook. It's always been a favorite. The classic
Yeah.
version and the new version. We have two different versions now. And yesterday we ran into this. We had a client, unusual. He got a pop-up message saying, oh, there it is. Restart recommended. We detected a session unusually high memory consumption, which I haven't seen in a long time in Outlook. And like this message, he was running the newest version of Outlook, right? The new version, not the classic. So couldn't really figure out what was going on. Switched them back to the classic, and it looked like the problem went away. I thought it was an issue with just the new version, but apparently not, right, Chris? It's both versions?
Yeah. And it was also affecting Outlook on the web, which is unusual. Usually you can go to Outlook on the web if you ever have an Outlook sign in and just use the web version until it calms down, whatever your issue was. But in this case, certain services that run in the background for Outlook and telemetry data, it was causing like some kind of unusual activity or network traffic, I think. And there was a service or there was an Azure outage that took down multiple services for customers across North and Latin America for more than 2 hours. This also affected Teams. Auto attendants weren't working. We ran into that. They ended up fixing the issue. So if you're still experiencing this, you just simply need to restart Outlook. And you may need to restart Outlook twice because there might be some kind of caching issue, they're saying. They have in the Microsoft Admin Center, there's a service health issue ID. And yeah, they're saying restart twice due to caching. And Outlook on the web, refresh your session if the issue persists, clear your browser cache, and refresh the session again. So this was widespread.
So let's take a step back for a second, because we probably lost people when we use the word telemetry.
Yeah.
That basically means that all these companies, not just Microsoft, Google, they send all this information back and forth through their applications to the mothership, back to their data centers, so they can tweak out things. So they can keep track of like things that crash, errors. That's what it's supposed to be mainly. You can find probably your IP address. So there's a lot of information that gets sent back and forth. And what most companies say is it's just for usability purposes and security purposes. They're not gathering any information off your computer. Who's to say? The only time you can actually drill down onto what's being sent, if you're really curious, is if you were to go into the firewall logs for your company, your IT people could see that traffic being sent out to the internet, back to Microsoft, right? So we see that when we're setting up firewalls for our client, or if we see something unusual, sometimes we have to, if it's being blocked in the firewall, some of that telemetry data will actually affect the usability of the application, which it seems like there was way too much data going, and it basically consumed all the memory on the computer because Outlook was working too hard, or Teams, or whatever it is. So they were gathering too much information. There was something going on that they screwed up.
Yeah, you could also use some network traffic analyzer to see the packets leaving your computer, or Wireshark, whatever you want to use. But also, for anyone that's not, who knows, maybe it's a small business and you manage their Microsoft tenant, you can always come into like the admin center, admin.microsoft.com, go down to health and choose service health, and you'll see all the issues going on here. Advisories or outages with certain apps. You can see like Microsoft 365 has these 3 advisories. You can also come in here, I think it's support. You can generate a new issue. You can report a new issue in here. And like someone from Microsoft will call over to you and potentially help you if there's some kind of something on their end broken.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, because like in this instance, I happened to be on site talking to a client about some other things, and this gentleman had just come up to me, and I thought this was very unusual. But one of the things that I didn't think to do was to go into the portal and to see if there was news in there, any service degradation or anything like that. But I guess you did, Chris, when you had the Teams issue, the first place you checked was the portal. And
well, that was widespread, though. You just had one user. If we had all users having it, then maybe I'd be like, oh, what is this?
Yeah, and sometimes it's not, it could just be one tenant, one client. When we say tenant, that's just a computer hosted in the Microsoft environment, which is separate from a different tenant. So sometimes it could be hundreds in the same data center, or it could be, and that's one part of the country or one part of the world. And other times it could be the whole country, right? All the data centers that Microsoft has. So like you can't go by, because we manage many clients, we can't we can't go by one tenant. I mean, each tenant, you have to go in for each tenant. It's not always affecting the other client, if that makes sense. Yeah.
They might have certain different licensing. They're using different products in Microsoft's ecosystem there. Or it might be, like Brian was saying, a tenant setting. So like in my little demo here, maybe I have an issue that not everyone has because I don't know, I have a Entra multi-factor configured differently for me or something. There could be anything.
Yeah. So just a good reminder. So again, restarting for the Outlook issue, restarting Outlook. The Teams issues, they cleared up behind the scenes. We don't know what they did exactly. If you wanted to, I guess you could dive right into the admin center, service health that Chris is talking about. But just remember to go to the portal if you're using Microsoft Office products, their email, right? Your email's going through Microsoft. Go there first. Just always a nice reminder. We'll try to include the link to the Outlook issue and what people were seeing. And yeah, have a good one, Chris.
You too. Bye.